Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. And we're coming to you from our studios at the Capital Region International Airport. But we're going to run down to Detroit right now, where a lot of stuff is happening. And the guy that's right in the middle of it, of course, is Mayor Mike Duggan. Mike, welcome to the show. It's good to have you on. How you doing?
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Excellent. Currently serving your third term as Detroit's 75th mayor. Now, you've been very widely credited, and we all know this, from leading the economic turnaround in Detroit. When you look back, what do you consider Detroit's biggest economic successes?
Well, we started out with a 20% unemployment rate and a whole lot of people in the city who had high school degrees who wanted to go to work. And I think we made a commitment to be the best place in the country for manufacturing. And whether it was the 5,000 employee Jeep plant that Fiat Chrysler put in, or the Lear seating plant, the Dakota plant, we now have $10 billion in investment and thousands of people back to work. It's been a great thing.
So you also have worked very closely with the business community, small businesses, et cetera, entrepreneurs in Detroit. What do you see as the biggest challenges facing Michigan businesses?
I just think the toxic partisan environment makes it impossible for business to know what's going to happen next. And you've watched as this state has swung from huge mega credits to the manufacturers to canceling all the credits to doing some brownfield credits to going to SOAR, where we're giving away billions of dollars of cash up front, to canceling all the programs. There is no long-term economic development strategy for small or big business. And as long as the Republicans and Democrats switch back and forth every couple of years, you're never going to have a coherent plan. So I think what we can do is hammer out a consensus in the middle from good Republicans and Democrats saying, here's Michigan's plan, here's how we compete with Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois.
Well, this is a perfect segue into the next question, which is, the bipartisanship thing and how we get rid of that. What do you have as some examples of how that worked?
I just, when I came into the city of Detroit, was headed toward, it was in bankruptcy actually. By the time I got elected, half the streetlights in the city were out. He called 911, the ambulance wouldn't show up for an hour. And what I did was build a partnership with city council, said, we're going to do these together. And one of the questions was, we had a terrible shortage of affordable housing. I had lots of people who wanted to build projects. Council and I said to our real estate community, if you want tax breaks from the city, 20% of the units have to be set aside as long-term affordable. So there's a place for everybody. And at first there was resistance, and now we've had $1.5 billion in new housing construction in the last 6 years, and 20% of everything being built is affordable. We don't have tent cities in the city of Detroit, but it required the Republicans and Democrats, business, and the activist group to come together to solve the problem.
Now, we stay away from politics here if we possibly can because our viewership is 100% business. But let's talk about some of the endorsements because I've been pretty impressed. And in full disclosure, I'm a Mike Duggan fan. I really am. So let's talk about some of those, and they're pretty diverse in who's endorsed you.
But people in Detroit just want their problem solved. They don't care. And 12 years of problem solving builds you a lot of partnerships. And so to have the public support of Bill Ford and Roger Penske and Dan Gilbert in the business community is terrific. But then the Carpenters Union, which is a huge funder of the Democratic Party, has come out and endorsed me. It's 14,000 members. Unite Here, which represents a lot of the hotel and restaurant workers, and has always been a very democratic group, has come out and endorsed me. And this is the kind of campaign I'm building because what they all want is the same thing. We want a state that's growing where our kids are not moving to other states for opportunities. And it is really encouraging thing to a lot of people. They have people who don't normally be in the room together, both be in the room to support my campaign.
Well, I think it's because they're, like you say, solution oriented. Talk about mic drops because your campaign is kind of unique.
Well, when I ran for mayor of Detroit, nobody had seen a white candidate for mayor in 40 years. In an 83% black city, a lot of folks thought I didn't have a chance. But I campaigned by going living room to living room every night and did 250 house parties in every corner of the city. And when you sit with people in their homes and in their communities, everything that divides us fades to the background, and we build trust. And so I'm doing the same thing around the state now. And so I was up in a little town called Vassar outside of Frankenmuth at a bean farm and had a great meeting with a group of farmers. Went up to Lexington, an hour north of Port Huron, town of 1,000 people. 100 showed up on a Tuesday night. And it was a lot of fun. People were excited. I finally said to them, how many of you would have shown up tonight if I were running for governor as a Democrat? And a third of the hands in the room went up. And they all looked at each other and started laughing and realized these are their friends and neighbors in a small town, but they would have never been in the same room politically. But I said, let's pull together and solve the problems that are for the good of this community. And I think that's what most people in Michigan want.
Well, we need absolutely a problem solver. Mayor Mike Duggan, Mayor of Detroit, thanks for joining us. Good luck on your campaign trail, buddy.
Thanks so much for having me, Chris.
All right. You are watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman, and we'll be right back.